What's up, everybody? You're listening to Hustle Makes It Happen, a podcast about the grit, mindset, and determination it takes to become a winner. Success is not an accident. It lives outside your comfort zone where excuses are met by brick walls. So strap in, tighten up, and let's get ready to hustle. That was fun. That was the first time I got to do that, y'all.
That was
good.
impressive.
That was really good. What's up, hustlers? Look, welcome back to another episode of Hustle Makes It Happen, the podcast. As you may have noticed, we got legendary podcaster, producer extraordinaire, Mr. Jim Chapman, out from behind the camera and in front of the microphone for this episode. Little guest hosting we got going on today. So, Jim, thanks for joining us, number one.
Hey, I love it. And yeah, if you haven't noticed, I'm not Chase.
Yeah, I don't know which one.
We have the same amount of
ugly.
hair practically, but I'm not Chase.
Yep, that's it, Jim. Appreciate you jumping in for us.
You got it.
Guys, look, this is it. Here we go. It's another episode of Hustle Makes It Happen, the podcast. If you're a new viewer, you know the thing. Bring a friend, spread the word, come back and get you some more of this content. If you're a long-term listener, make sure you go on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell icon so you get notifications whenever we go live with content, and take some time. Really helps us out. Algorithm gods, Jim preaches on this all day long. The algorithm gods love the iTunes reviews. So go on iTunes, drop us a review, help us boost that show up, and that's it, man. Let's jump off into it. Today, it's been a while since we did a musician, and I think, you know, when we started this show, we talked about wanting to talk to people from all different genres of life, right, that are out there grinding and working their tails off to achieve whatever it is they want to achieve, you know, achieve their dreams or achieve some kind of financial goal or whatever it is. We think that the commonality of hard work, hustle, and dedication is universal to all different types of businesses and endeavors or whatever. So we've had one other musician on, and it was way back in season 1, or was that in season 2?
That was in season 1.
That was in season 1. Yeah, we had Landon McGee on. He's out in Nashville doing his thing, and we love to hear the story about how you guys, I mean, just plow through life every single day, trying to get in front of as many people as you can and get your voice out there. But today we have Mr. Thomas Cain and Miss Lucy Cain. So thank y'all for joining us.
Thank y'all for having us.
Thank you.
So we're fired up today because we love musicians. And look, I love listening to live music. I tell people all the time that's really an aspect of, I guess, going out or doing things as a couple a lot of times that you can do where you can get with friends, you can have a good time. Yeah, it really is. And it'll set your mood off one way or the other.
Absolutely. When you're sad, you have sad songs to listen to. When you're happy, it pumps you up, it gets you going. So
that's exactly right. So we're excited to have y'all on, and we want to, as Justin said, we want to talk about the hustle involved in the music business. Whole different deal than anywhere else.
How long do we have today?
All the time we need, baby. All the time we need.
Look, I'm gonna tell you, it's a struggle a lot of times to, you know, I've sat people down that are in bands on my podcast, and I'll tell you, anything you get out of music, you've got to earn it.
You get what you put in. You
100%.
absolutely get what you put in.
100%. Garth Brooks said it a long time ago. He said, you could go down Nashville and go down the main drag and find 20 bars with 20 people singing in them that sing better than me.
That's right.
You know, it just takes luck sometimes.
It does.
It
Sometimes
really,
it does.
really
I mean,
does.
some people get at it and they accomplish what they're trying to accomplish in a short time. And some people, it takes them 15 years of grinding and hustling before they get discovered. So luck does have a lot to do with it sometimes.
And then having a wife on your team like me obviously helps.
That's right.
That's right.
Well, always important.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up early. So I want y'all to talk about, tell us a little bit about like your backstory, a little bit about like how the two of y'all met, and then let's talk about the relationship between the two of y'all and how y'all kind of work as a team to go after this thing together. Because we've only had up to this point one other husband-wife duo. They were a business duo, and their story was really interesting because it's a whole nother dynamic into your hustle whenever you are going at something as a team. In some aspects it's easier, but in some aspects it's not. You know what I mean? You've always got somebody there to help you. But I mean, mixing business with the bedroom sometimes don't work. You know what I mean? So I'm curious to see how that plays out.
Sometimes it makes it better, though. So.
That's right. That's right.
Hell yeah, we killed it today.
Good. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I've been around music pretty much my whole life. My dad, when I was a kid, he would play me a few songs when it was bedtime, on his guitar. And I really, I don't know, something about music drew me to it. When I was probably 11, 12 years old, my dad bought me a drum set. So I was originally a drummer. And I joined my first band when I was 14. I was a drummer in a little alternative rock band. And then when I kind of went all the way through my becoming a man stage, I figured out that I could sing. And I was like, you know what? A microphone's a lot lighter than a drum set.
That's right.
So let's do that. I was in an R&B group when I was 17 to about 19.
We'll have to show you all the picture.
Yeah, she loves showing this picture of me because it looks nothing like what I look like right now.
Maybe Jim can stick it in the video right here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Love it.
I used to hate it, and I'm like, you know what? It's part of what got me to where I'm at. So now it's like, whatever, show it to people. I don't care.
Well, I did it. And you just brought up a good point, and that is those steps that you took back then get you to where you're going, where you are now, where you're headed. So while at the time it might have seemed like something that this just ain't maybe my brand of music, maybe it was necessary to lead you on that
absolutely
path.
Because I went through phases in my life. I listened to any type of music from 40s, 50s music, 60s music, 70s, 80s rock, R&B, Motown, love Motown.
Oh yeah.
Country music, obviously, just pretty much anything. And those different phases that I went through in life of I like this style of music, and I really do that for a little while. It kind of molded me into the artist that I am now. And it really helped with the the versatility that I have and the different things that I can sing. We have a lot of people at shows sometimes. They'll talk to me after shows and they're like, it's very rare to find somebody that can go from singing Chris Stapleton to singing Jason Aldean to singing,
Nelly. You have some Nelly
doing
stuff.
Doing some Nelly stuff in there.
Oh,
he'll throw that in there. Then you have some slight headbanging rock stuff in there, there's all kind of stuff that he does.
Some ballads. Very good.
I think what's interesting about the music industry, and I kind of learned this from Lando whenever he came on too, I think what takes so long in that process is really finding yourself and finding your genre, and that's so different for each individual artist because it's based on what you just said, right? What you grew up listening to and what you are inspired by, and that's a little bit different for every person, it seems like. But and each artist that breaks out and makes it big has to go through that phase, that 8 to 10 year phase of finding themselves and finding their genre.
Yeah, I think one of the worst things you can do as an artist, especially in the music industry, is to corral yourself to one type of music. Not a knock to anybody who's they find their thing and they're like, this is what I like, this is what I want to do. That's fine, but you have to at least at some point explore all the different types of music, and really, as a listener and being an artist, I don't just listen to a song. I try to listen to the lyrics and what message they're trying to push across in that song.
Yeah.
So you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't at least explore different types of music and just see what people were feeling and try to understand whenever they wrote, whatever song it is.
100%. You go through my phone right now, you'll see everything from Eminem to Elvis.
Oh yeah.
I think that's a Southern thing, man.
That's right.
I say that all the time. If you don't listen, if your playlist don't go from country to rap to rock, you're probably not born and raised in the South.
That's right.
Reba to Kevin Gates.
Yeah, that's right.
throw in some old stuff.
It really is. And how would you what would you classify your music as if you had to kind of put it in? Is it like a new country type sound? I've listened to some of you, love your songs.
I would say probably rock and country with a modern touch.
Yeah.
It's not quite Brantley Gilbert all the way.
Yeah.
But it's not like, pop country.
Right.
So I think it's somewhere probably in between those.
Very good. Yeah.
Justin,
I would say that.
You said something a minute ago, finding yourself, and that's like that's the point in your life that you actually start to make things happen. That brings me to the relationship part of this, because whenever we met, we were both 100% out of the whole relationship thing. I'm not doing it anymore.
Done.
Yeah, 100% done. But once we met, we were 100% inseparable at that point. But I think for the first time in his life and in mine, we found someone like a best friend, truly. And I think that's why we work so well together. So he can be 1,000,000% himself. So he has been able to find himself, who he feels most comfortable, how he wants to act on stage, with no judgment from any direction. Like, he is absolutely.
And she helped me grow into, the image that I have now. As far as like the Chucks that I wear.
He was terrified of them.
I tried them on before, and I looked at my feet, and I'm like, I look dumb.
The old Ron McDonald ass shoes.
Give me my
wife
cowboy
did the
boots.
same thing to me, bro. Like, I'm wearing Hey Dudes right now, which I love my dudes.
I got a brand new pair.
Love my dudes. But I did the same thing. Like, I didn't buy my first pair of Chucks until I'd met my wife, and she's like, just try them out. And I was like, God, first of all, these things are comfortable, and they look pretty dope with jeans.
Yeah,
right.
they do.
Yeah, it's like, I get it. I totally get it. So that's one thing that I want to talk about. Two things. First, we've talked on the show pretty frequently. I told y'all it's the first time or second time we've had a husband and wife duo. But we've talked about it in episodes where it was just us, where we talk about your support system and how important that is, right?
That's very important, because if you don't have somebody, like, first of all, you gotta bet on yourself. But if you don't have somebody behind you, especially a spouse, then it makes it that much harder to make it.
But it's almost like you're having a fighting against somebody.
You have somebody combating what you're trying to do. It's like, just support what I'm doing, and this will be a lot easier.
Yeah, and that leads directly into one of the things that you wrote about in your questionnaire. And if it's all right, we'll talk about it. We asked you about a time where you felt like you were at complete rock bottom, and you mentioned your previous marriage and how that wasn't working out. And it seemed like, just based on what you wrote, that your ex-wife wasn't very supportive of you, wasn't very supportive of your dreams, and that kind of led you down a kind of a tough road where you had considered giving up.
Yeah, it was it was one of those things where it was like, it's cool that you can sing and that you're in a band, but she wasn't going to every show. So it was like, she got tired of me being gone and not getting home till 3 or 4 in the morning. A lot of people don't understand about being an artist is, just because like the listener, the patrons that come to these venues, they might get there at a certain time, and your show is from, let's just say, 10 to 12 or 10 to 1 or whatever you're playing. That's the part that they see. What they don't see is the 4 hours that you get there before the show.
Or even this past weekend, we had to be there at 1 o'clock and didn't play till 10:30.
We played Country Club Louisiana this past weekend. They had Billy Dean and Tracy Byrd, and we played the after party. We had to be there at 1 o'clock to set up and be done, making no noise. And we didn't play till 10:30 that night. So a lot of people don't see that. And so back to the story, she was like, I'm tired of you getting home at 3 or 4 in the morning, questioning, why are you getting home at 3 or 4 in the morning? It's like,
I really was working.
You act like you've never been to a show before. You know what, like, I don't just get home at 3 or 4 in the morning when you are with me. I get home at 3 or 4 in the morning regardless.
Right.
So it was kind of like, choose me or playing music. And at the time, it's like, okay, well, I don't want my marriage to fail, so let's do this. And I stepped away from music, and then ultimately, as you can imagine, that came to an end. Yeah, that marriage came to an end. And once it did, it was like, all right, I'm going back into music. And I'm going to do this. And whoever I end up being with is either going to, like, this is first thing. I am an artist. I'm a musician. Don't ever ask me to choose between you and that, because I'm going to choose that every time. Mm-hmm. I've done that before, and I hated myself for it. So it's like, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
You're getting into a relationship with someone who does this for a living. You either support it and you can accept it, or you can't. And if you can't, that's fine. We'll move past that.
Right. I think that takes a lot of clarity about what you want in your life to be able to have that conviction about you. You know what I mean? Like, you got to know that this is what you're passionate about. You know, you're passionate about playing music. You're passionate about following your dreams. And you have to have somebody that supports you if you're going to be successful, especially in that industry. I mean, I don't claim to be any kind of expert on the music industry, but I mean, I know just in the things that I'm doing, you know, the podcast and our you know, land development business on the outside, if my wife wasn't supportive of those two things, I don't know what I would do. I mean, I really don't, because I can empathize with the fact that you want your marriage to work. I mean, you got married for a reason, you know what I mean? But if that person's not willing to support you and what you want to do, then I think it takes a lot of guts to be able to kind of stand up for what you believe in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And you have to, because otherwise you won't be successful.
That's right.
Not to the level that you want to be. And it makes it like feel a lot better when you achieve whatever the next level of success is to you. When you have somebody that supported you through it, it's like, all right, this worked because we worked together.
Because we did it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to say that it hasn't been an adjustment for me.
Oh, no, it definitely was an adjustment for her.
It was hard. Like, I came from some pretty difficult relationships myself, and so going into this, I had a lot of barriers, a lot of walls, and a lot of toxic past. Issues. Yeah. So going into it and seeing the way that the women act at the shows, and prior to me, he had an incident where someone actually, like, really inappropriately grabbed him. They stopped the show, and you know, but I
above
personally,
the knees, below the waist.
I have not personally experienced that, but there are shows like, you know, you're from Springfield at the Prop Stop. Mm-hmm. There's so much out there, and it took some time for me to understand that at the end of the day, he's with me 100%. Like, I'm at every show. He shouts out for me. Like, he lets everyone know that we're together. But also, these are the women that are basically paying our bills. Like, they have to think he's hot. They have to love him. They have to love his music. If they want a picture, if they want to just talk to him or a hug, and that makes their day, I had to understand that was okay, because at the end, he's coming home with me. We're living this great life, all these experiences together, and all they want is a hug to make their day.
That's right.
I don't know if you're familiar with Morgan Wallen's music, if you are familiar with the lyrics of Broadway Girls, but he says, perfectly said, they don't love you, and they only love you right now. Mm-hmm. So it's like I told her, you know, they only love what they see. They don't know me.
That's right.
So it means nothing. I mean, it does. It means something in the aspect of they're supporting me and they like me, whether they think I look good or they just like my voice or whatever it is. That means something. But when somebody tries to throw themselves at you, to some people that might be attractive and they might like that, but I don't. Like, it does nothing for me.
Right.
All righty. I want to talk to this lady.
Oh, God, okay. You're making me nervous.
First of all, I'm digging your necklace there. Zen
like
as fuck. That's exactly what that says.
I'm the opposite of that. I'm not calm by any means.
That's a front.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like my daily reminder to chill the fucking out.
Right. I love it. So, first of all, how did y'all meet?
We were at a house party right there in Springfield on the river. Showed up. I had actually just moved out of my ex's house officially that day. And when I got there, I was a disaster. Mascara running down my face, drunk as shit, and sat down, and he's like, I like this girl. So
it was hard to acquire.
It was the tattoos and the glasses.
Yeah, that was it.
So I sit down, and before the end of the night, before you knew it, everyone from the party had left. And it was like, I looked around, I'm like, oh, wow, we're the only two sitting here. So, we left, and we haven't spent a day apart since.
Very good.
It literally just happened out of nowhere.
Yeah. And how long have y'all been together?
That was April of 2020.
Okay. Yeah.
So just a couple years here.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all, if you're in the market for a real estate attorney that can handle all your title work needs, all your closing needs, all your succession needs, whatever your needs are in the real estate industry, look no further than our friends Shay Landry and the group at Milestone Title. Y'all, we use these guys for our personal business, and they have never let us down. They've been on top of the game every time we've used them. So whatever it is that you're looking for in the real estate industry, as far as a closing attorney or title work is concerned, check out our friends over at Milestone Title. Milestone Title, a proud sponsor of Hustle Makes It Happen, the podcast.
Nick Torito in Area Home Lending, Louisiana's top choice for mortgages. If you're looking to buy, build, or refinance, they have you covered. Don't get fooled by one of those online or out-of-state banks. Nick and Area Home Lending are Louisiana-based and lend in all of Louisiana. From Lake Charles to Lafayette or all of Baton Rouge to New Orleans. If it's in this state, Nick and his team are local experts and ready to help. Your home is one of the biggest decisions and investments you will make in your life. With trust, commitment, and care, Nick will walk you through the process, step by step, making the hardest decision easy and ensuring the process is as simple and painless as possible. And with Nick, you'll find out that you're not only just another transaction or number on the list. He's invested in you, and you become family with his goal to create a relationship that will always be there. Area Home Lending has access to the best loan programs too, and with the lowest rate and fees, all while delivering exceptional customer service. Please give him a call today at 225-663-2500 or visit him on the web at www.areahomelending.com. I guarantee you, he will take great care of you. Nick Torito and Area Home Lending, a proud sponsor of Hustle Makes It Happen, the podcast.
We talked about this a little bit earlier, but you discussed the importance of support. And you're exactly right. Anything that you do, it requires a lot of support. But your industry in particular, it's a little more of a struggle. It's very similar to actors or podcasters to some extent.
I don't have anybody throwing themselves at me yet.
So, but it's very similar in industries in that, your paycheck is very heavily reliant on your popularity. Getting, in your cases, venues booked, right? Huge thing. You want to constantly be out there, getting with the right people to promote you. All those things are important, and all those things tie into, it's not a 9 to 5. It's not something that you definitely have this coming home every week and you're on a salary. And a lot of these guys, they're working 2 and 3 jobs and playing in bands. Is that, do you currently have a job in addition, or is this your full-time gig?
I actually gave up my full-time job to do this with him.
Yeah.
His mom owns a bar, Cat's Warsaw, on the river in Springfield. Yeah. So we managed the bar in our, I guess you would say, spare time. Yeah. But we both left our full-time 9 to 5 jobs to pursue music 100% full-time.
Yeah, I mean, it's, no knock to any artist out there who does work a day job, whether they're a singer, bass player, guitar player, drummer, whatever they are. If they're in the music industry, and sometimes they have a family to support, and while you're building this, you still have to support family. So no knock to those guys, but I can tell you, it is 1,000% lighter on you if you dedicate everything to what you're trying to achieve. And that's one thing that I did. I worked refineries for 13 years, and I walked away from $30-something an hour to play music full time. And at the time when I did it, my band was only making like $500-600 a show. We were just playing often enough that I was able to, it wasn't like I wasn't rolling in money, but I was paying bills, and it was like, be dedicated. And if you have something to fall back on, I feel like you're less likely to give 100% to what you're doing because you have that fallback. Right. If you go all in, and I think I wrote about this in the questionnaire.
Yep, I was just about to mention it.
If you go all in, you don't have anything to fall back on, so you have to make it work. And I think that was the biggest thing for me, committing to it.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, when their back's against the walls, when they're at their best.
That's right.
Yep. And look, Jim's story is pretty similar to that. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but
Sure.
just briefly. I mean, Jim had a great job in sales with slinging paint, right?
Slinging the best paint money can buy.
But had a passion for podcasting, helping other podcasters, doing all this stuff, and just made the leap one day and left that 9-to-5 job and dove all into this and has built up what you see now. I mean,
yeah, well, and probably very similar to you, I knew one thing, and that was I would never know what I was capable of doing unless I put 100% into it.
That's it.
And the only way I could do that was to walk away from the security I had.
That's right.
Relative to my job. So I
You have
also
to make
had a
yourself
supportive
uncomfortable
wife.
for that growth. You
Yeah.
really have to.
Yeah.
But I've told him before, I don't care what it takes. I will sit outside and I will sell lemonade if I have to keep it going to where he can do music. I believe in him.
I would
And
totally buy a lemonade if you were
Absolutely.
selling. Buy me in for 2 cups.
New business.
Lucy's,
I'm constantly-
Lucy's lemonade.
yeah, Lucy's
I'm
lemonade
always
stand.
trying to start a new business. Actually, so y'all were talking about what it takes at the shows. Behind the scenes, what I do there, give me a glass of wine and I'll get around and meet new people. That's actually how we got that show with Whiskey Myers. And there's a lot of things that happen just from
Shout out to Lee.
Yeah, Lee, thank you so much for that. But you meet people at these shows, and me walking around and just talking to people, meeting new people, friends. There's so many different things. Like, I'm constantly trying to find new things. This right here is a popple. Might actually work for y'all. You scan tap your phone on it, pulls up your whole website and everything.
She's got so many great ideas and things that she'll
That
just
is a
sit
great
down and she's like, I think this would be cool. And she comes up with like stuff like that, like she just found that. And it makes it so much easier than saying, hey, do you have a business card? Hey, do you, because we have my QR code on my business card. But that thing is so much more convenient because 98% of the time she has her phone.
Or if not, I have a bracelet that I'll wear to shows that has it in the bracelet as well. You just hold your arm out and they tap the bracelet.
Yeah, it looks like a
pulls up everything.
Fitbit. It looks like the Fitbits, and it just says Popple on it.
Yeah.
You just
But
tap
anyway,
your
we're
phone.
getting off on that. But I was just saying, there's so many things that you learn along the way, and meeting new people is probably the.
Shout out to Popple.
Shout out Pop.
If you're interested in
We'll
sponsoring
link that
Hustle
in
Makes
the
It Happen
podcast.
Always
podcast.
looking for sponsors.
We're gonna link
Rain.
Popple.
Hashtag Rain keeps us going.
Yes. So speaking of that, though, social media, how important is that to your
It is the
business?
most important.
Yeah.
Actually, Alfie, his guitar player, is helping me a little bit because I'm more into the design side of things. I'm not very familiar with the algorithms or the hashtags to use or different angles. But when it comes to the designing aspect of it, that's where I handle it with just trying to get, the flyers out there, the events. I handle almost all of the social media, but it's constantly pushing. And like I said, this little thing right here, especially at concerts. Look, we'll go to concerts, see Brantley Gilbert. I'm in the bathroom, a bottle of wine in, talking to girls. I'm like, hey, follow my husband. And believe it or not, the next day you get 10, 15 new followers because they're talking to their friends who is this guy?
That's right. It makes a difference. And look, I spend 5 to 8 hours a day on social media.
Oh, yeah. It really
Every day.
social
Yeah,
media is a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's part of it.
Definitely a full-time
Not
job.
just mindlessly scrolling videos is like even when she's looking at stuff, she can just be taking some time for herself to just kind of chill out, and she'll see something and go, I wonder if this would work.
Screenshot, add to my reminders. I have an alarm that reminds me to check my reminders. Y'all, it's crazy.
It's a huge part of what you do. And that
Very.
was the point I wanted to get at was it's a team thing here. And you are that aspect of the team, and he's the voice, right?
Right.
In the face of the team, and together that makes lightning. I mean, it really does.
So you started down this road a while ago. You've opened up or played with some pretty big names.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was reading through your questionnaire. I saw. You just mentioned Whiskey Myers. Tell us some of the other ones.
We've done 2 shows now after this past weekend with Tracy Bird, Wayne Toops, Billy Dean was on the ticket. Billy Dean, for those that might not know who Billy Dean is, he had some pretty big hit songs in the 90s, I believe.
You had John Barry
John
a little
Barry.
while back. An
I
acoustic
don't
show
think I
with
put
John
that on
Barry.
the questionnaire, but yeah, John Barry. I mean, I don't know exactly how old he is, but the guy's got to be close to late 50s, early 60s, and
His voice is still phenomenal.
I mean, like silk, and cool guy. We also just did a show. When was that?
About a month or so ago.
Yeah, about a month ago with Tyler Farr at the Texas Club. That was pretty cool.
That was awesome. He's a really cool guy.
Yeah.
Like he came, I wasn't expecting it, but of course I was drinking. But he came. He came
You had
out
your
back.
wine and your popple.
I did. So he came out back, and before you know it, because I was drinking, everyone else I guess was nervous. I was like, "What's up, dude? You want to be my best friend?" Literally sat down. We're scrolling through each other's phones, looking at pictures of his daughter. Like he's a really down to earth, fun guy. Yeah. He even called Brantley Gilbert while we were right there.
Oh, pretty cool.
Just about died, but.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So what is, I guess, like the typical day or week look like for you? Like, what's your daily grind look like?
So first thing for a lot of people, they don't understand that our schedule is not.
There is no schedule.
Yeah, it's not wake up at 7 a.m., 5 a.m., 4 a.m. We're usually getting to bed at that time. So we will sleep till, 11, 12. If we're really exhausted, sometimes 1 or 2 o'clock in the day. And it's not just because we're lazy. It's because that's our sleep. That's our night.
We didn't go to sleep till 9 a.m. yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting the same amount of sleep as everybody else.
It's just we live
different
the
time of
opposite
day.
schedule.
Yeah. And so, like for a show day, we'll get up. Typically, managing the bar, we'll check in with them, see if there's anything they need there. And then we head off to a show. And it's like if we play at 9 o'clock, we get there at 6.
It's a lot of hurry up and wait. Like you have to hurry up, rush, get there. But then once you get there, it's waiting for you to even be able to start the show. So
yeah. So I mean, for a single show, especially like when you're doing most of it yourself and you don't have, a big team of roadies where you can just be on a bus sleeping. We haven't made it there yet. So we're still hook the truck to the trailer, drive to the venue, unload everything. I do have a couple roadies that work with us right now, and they do a lot of the heavy lifting, but it's like it's still my job and my other guys in the band that understand how everything is supposed to be hooked up to double check. Okay, this power can't be here because the stuff that we run, like we have such a big lighting show and all of our PA, it's like, okay, PA has to be on a separate circuit. Lighting and stage gear has to be on a separate circuit so you don't trip anything. So it's like you get there and your day might consist one show of 10 hours just for one show for, 2 or 3 hour set. And then, of course, after you have, people, when we did the show with Tyler Farr, I left the stage, went to my merch table, and my plan was to go in the green room, maybe kind of watch from the side, watch Tyler's show. I had to watch Tyler's entire show from my merch table across the Texas Club because we had, people want you to sign things. They want to buy shirts and they want to watch you sign the shirt. They want to watch you sign the headshot. They want to take pictures with you. They just want to talk to you. So by the time you do all that after a show and then you pick up and then you get home, it's like,
well, after that show, we didn't even get to go home.
Yeah.
We actually caught a plane and flew to Illinois, played a show out there, Stale Cracker from TikTok. Mm-hmm. He was in Illinois. We did an event out there, and I think that entire weekend we may have slept like 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, we finished the show with Tyler, went home, grabbed our clothes that we had packed up. A couple of my band members rode with us, went to the airport, got on our flight, slept about 30 minutes on the flight. Thank God there was only like 40 people on the flight, so each one of us got our own 3 seats. Mm-hmm. We were all laid out in the seats. We slept about 30 minutes, landed in St. Louis, took shuttle over, got a rental car, drove to Carlisle, Illinois. My road crew was already there. They had drove up the day before, and they had everything set up. We played that show, finished there, packed up, went to the hotel, slept for probably 4 hours, got up, drove back to St. Louis, got on a flight, flew to Houston. Our flight got canceled twice. I have a picture on my phone if you guys would like to put it somewhere.
Nick's sleeping.
of my drummer face down on the floor in the airport sleeping.
Oh, wow.
So we got late. We got canceled twice there, and then we flew back home. And I think her and I don't know about the rest of them, but me and her slept for like 15 hours.
Yeah.
It was like we slept. We woke up for a couple hours. It was like, yeah, still tired. Go back to sleep.
Yeah.
See, and that's why I think it's so intriguing to have musicians on here, especially people that travel the country like you talking about. I mean, that schedule is absolute insanity.
It's chaos.
You
It's
know?
just always chaos.
But what people see is they see, like, you know, people see on stage, they see the little, 2-3 hours you might be out there doing your set, and they don't think any further beyond that. You know
Or
what
they
I'm saying?
see the little highlights from, like, if we're in Texas and we go do something while we're out there, they see the little picture I post of us smiling and all happy. They don't see the absolute hell we went through to be able to even have that hour worth of fun,
Yeah, and
Almost set up.
they're seeing a finished product,
Right.
They're, and that's the big thing.
That's cool, because I like things like this to be able to give someone who doesn't really understand and know what it's like to be in the music industry the opportunity to understand the stuff that we have to go through.
Yeah.
For them to come to Texas Club or wherever a venue might be, and enjoy those few hours with their friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we can't just throw it up there in 10 minutes and be ready to go. There's a lot, and there's like, we have set lists, that people will come up and they'll ask, hey, do you do this song? And sometimes we can just kind of wing it, but for the most part, like, we make a set list out for the time frame that we're playing. If it's an hour, we have enough songs to play that hour, and maybe a few to bag if we have to go over for any reason. But we kind of have a show structure, so that's part of the work that goes into what we do too, is to making sure we open with the right songs. We're able to play some of our some of our original songs, because you want people to hear your original music too.
Mm-hmm.
No matter you're playing 45 minutes or 3 hours, you want them to hear some of your original stuff, so they know you as an artist and not just somebody up there playing songs that are already making people millions of dollars.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's, writing music, total talent. I mean, that's something all in of itself. It's not easy. So
I didn't know I was capable.
No, she did not. She actually helped write a little bit of Crazy. So like, it shows whenever I'll say, I'm announcing the
we'll have
song.
to play that one for y'all. It's a good one.
When
I'll link that. Is it on YouTube? Because I know some of your stuff's on YouTube.
It's on Apple Music, Spotify.
It should be anywhere
YouTube.
that you can download music.
Okay, cool. I'll
And
link
it's-
something.
And it's basically a song about honesty.
Yeah.
Like, ladies, let's be honest. Sometimes y'all can be a little bit crazy. And
Yeah, you're right.
Well, that's what you say, bro. My wife listens to
Crazy
this.
ladies.
but I always follow that up with, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of crazy,
Right.
because that just means that she's going to have your back.
Right.
And
That's
that's what the song's about.
Man, see, that's why, I love doing this podcast, because we talk, like I said, we talk to business owners and gym owners, and we talk to athletes, and y'all are the second musicians that we've talked to, and y'all are, the hustle is no different. The premise of getting up, putting in the work, and doing what you got to do every day to be successful. It's so universal. It's such a universal concept. You want to be a good musician? Then do musician shit all the time.
That's
You know what I mean?
Literally wake up until the time you go to sleep. It is nonstop. Like, I hate having this phone in my hand, but it is glued to me all day, responding to people or just trying to push and promote or find new ways to get them out there. It literally never stops.
Yeah. Yeah. Have y'all played Southern Rhythm yet?
We have not. I've talked to Steve.
Yeah.
I've talked to Steve about getting out there. I think it's just right now it's a negotiating thing. We have to figure out what works for him, what works for us.
It's a nice place. We actually went out there for an event, and it was, it's huge. It's nice.
Oh, it's beautiful building. And they completely redid it. It was Good Old Boys before that, I believe.
Yeah, I played out there
Okay.
whenever
Tony
it was.
Gyro owned it.
I've played
before
there
that.
when it was Triage.
Yeah, that's right.
I
Yeah.
played there.
Was that like a really long time ago?
Yeah, look, she always makes fun of me for my age.
Come on.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 37.
Oh, yeah, you're a baby.
Yeah,
Yeah, y'all are babies.
she gives me hell.
Y'all are babies.
She gives me hell all the time. calls me a grandpa, and
I mean, I'm a solid 7
not
years
touching
younger,
that.
and I always will be. So
that's right.
We'll just keep waking up, though. I mean, we keep waking up. Hopefully, we'll get there one day. Jim's a freaking dinosaur.
I am a dinosaur. I'm 40. I just turned 49, so I'm an
wow.
old man
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
But I ain't had no hair since I was like 25,
Downhill.
so you can't
feel
judge
that.
it by that.
Katie Benton Thompson is your local trusted realtor. Born and bred in real estate as a third-generation realtor, she deals with developments from lots and to houses. Katie was raised building the parish of Livingston. Her family roots have grown this parish for the last 30 years. This environment has educated Katie in all areas of real estate. I can tell you from personal experience, Katie Benton Thompson is a hustler in every way. She is constantly digging her heels in to give her clients the best buying or selling experience she can. Give Mandy Benton Realty Group a call and ask for Katie Benton Thompson at 225-953-0677.
I mean, you're out there grinding, you're out there hustling. You had some discussion in your questionnaire about obstacles and what you do whenever you run into a roadblock. First of all, what kind of roadblocks pop up a lot whenever you're in your industry? And second of all, what do you do whenever they pop up?
Well, I think some of the biggest things that you run into in our industry is scheduling. It comes down to scheduling. And that's not just for shows, that's for, studio time and writing sessions and just planning your week out or your weekend or whatever your shows are. We need a rehearsal. We want to add new material. Let's schedule that. What works for everybody. Your shows, we want to play this show, but we've also got somebody wanting us to play this show the next day. How do we make that work? And that's kind of like what we had to do for the Tyler Farr show and the next day being in Illinois. It's like, okay, I don't want to spend $1,800 on plane tickets, but that's the only way we're going to be able to do both shows. Right. So I think that's probably the biggest obstacle that we run into in our industry. And I think it's like with any obstacle that you run into, no matter what you do for a living, it's just identify what the problem is and figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
His was way more complicated than mine. I would just say you just don't sleep. Like that's the only, that's the way to overcome it. Just don't sleep. Just keep going.
That's it.
Yep.
So many nights like that.
I saw a thing on Facebook the other day. Somebody said, had like that must be nice comment or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It said, it must be nice. And the little tag said, motherfucker, you got the same 24 hours I got.
Yeah.
So right. That's true. I do have a weird relationship with sleep, and maybe this is going to hold me back. I don't know. I'm a firm believer in like trying to get 7 hours. Like I will try to schedule and plan my day where to the best of my ability, I can from 10 o'clock to 4 a.m. or whatever, I'm trying to get my hours in, but that's real difficult. Especially, I know with y'all in y'all's industries with your sleep schedule being backwards, but I'm a firm believer that sleep is healthy. Like you have to have.
100%.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that you got to try to get that. You got to try to get that 7 hours.
Yeah, try thinking about doing something and something you want to do when you're tired.
Yeah,
and then go to sleep and wake up and think about it. You'll come up with way better ideas and easier solutions to the problem when you've had rest. Like you said though, sometimes sleep is not an option. Mm-hmm.
And look, I know, and I'm not scared to do it at all. If there's nights you got to pull all-nighters or, work on 2-3 hours. Jim's seen me come in here whenever I worked at Exxon and we had just started the podcast. I'd go out, I'd work a set of dogs like Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, and then be in this studio at 9 a.m. on Monday morning recording podcast.
Yeah, that's rough.
You get off at 6, you go home, you sleep for an hour and a half after you've been on nights for 3 days. You know what I mean? So you're fully shifted into that night shift.
Your body's adjusted to it.
9 a.m. becomes the equivalent of 1 a.m.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I get it. You got to do what you got to do, but Man, when you can, you got to get that rest.
Oh yeah.
It's a good point that you bring up in that your schedule is different. And I'll use this as an example. Woody Overton, who I produce, does a podcast called Real Life, Real Crime. Well, in that podcast, he would come in and record. He was famous for me seeing the alarm for this studio go off at 3:00 in the morning. And after this happened 4 or 5 times, I asked Woody, I said, man, when are you recording this stuff? He said 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. But he was a homicide detective for 25 years and they worked nights.
Yeah.
And it's
just what worked for him.
Yeah. When I'm dreaming, he's like fired up solving cases, right? So it's just a totally opposite way of living. Now, he gets sleep just like y'all do. And like you said, it's not you lazy. You're still getting 6 hours of sleep or whatever it is. It's just a different time of the day.
We try to explain to people
it's
all
the
the time.
vampire life.
Right. Because, okay, a normal person works 9 to 5. They come home 5 o'clock. You wash your clothes. You do your dishes. You do whatever you have to do. And then you go to bed 5 hours after you get home sometimes. With us, we get home at 3 a.m. We still have to wash clothes. We still have to find something to eat. So it's like we're living the absolute opposite.
And you're
lifestyle.
keyed up, I would imagine.
Waffle House.
Yeah, all pumped up. I mean,
There's our dinner.
Yeah. Oh, Waffle House is so good.
We actually used to have shirts that said after the show we're going to Waffle House because we were there every single night. I'm like, this is too much.
Where's the after party? Waffle House.
Yeah.
Gotta get that All-Star, baby.
That's right.
Scattered,
All-Star.
smothered, and chunked.
Gotta get that All-Star.
That's it.
Shout out to Waffle House.
Shout
Right.
out.
What else? I mean, anything else we can add in?
No, so that's actually the perfect segue into one of the things that you wrote in your questionnaire that I kind of respected whenever I read it. You said we talk about managing burnout, right? Because that's a thing for anybody that has any kind of hustle in them. Like, you can only grind so long before you get ground down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all of us have to have some kind of outlet. And I love yours was so simple. It just said, sometimes you just got to rest, man. Sometimes you just got to take a knee and chill out.
We'll lay in bed and watch the football game, or he'll watch NASCAR, and I'll, play on my iPad or something, or I'll just sleep. I need way more sleep than he does. He's like a little crack rabbit all the time. I need sleep. Yeah.
I
love it.
I think my body has adjusted to just like 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours at the most. Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, ready to do it. Like, I'm not a person that can nap during the day.
And me neither.
I can't.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want to, but I know if I go to sleep, I'm going to wake up tired and pissed off. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just sleep when everything's done today.
Yeah. Well, my mind's constantly moving
Yeah.
up there if I'm trying to sleep during the day because I'm thinking, man, I could be doing this right now or this, and I'm,
I tell you
on the
what,
couch.
man, I write some of the songs that I've written and ideas that I come up with when I'm trying to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm laying there trying to go to sleep, and I'll just get a melody in my head. And I'm like, if I don't write this down, or if I don't record this, I won't remember it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I fall asleep to rain sounds like thunderstorms.
Yeah.
Every night I have to turn that on. So one night I felt him get out of the bed, and I'm like, what are you doing? I look at the clock. It's 3 in the morning. I'm like, why are you walking around the house? What are you doing? He's in the bathroom singing into his phone melodies that he had in his head, talking about like a sexy night with storms outside, and wrote a whole song in like 10 minutes in the bathroom while I'm sleeping.
That's so funny. Chase does that too. My business partner, he's like got insomnia. He'll just pop up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like, oh my God, and he'll write some stuff down. He takes notes in his phone. So he'll punch out his little notes or whatever. I don't do look, when I lay down and knock out, I'm out, bro. I'm like dead to the world. I die when I go to sleep. I'm going to die in my sleep. There's no doubt in my mind.
Look, when I go to sleep, I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can ask her. It's like, you don't just, hey, wake up.
Yeah, you got to shake me.
Work. It's like, hey.
Shake him, yell, turn lights on,
Hey.
make noise.
Hey.
Yeah, that's why I'm convinced I'm going to die in my sleep because of that. You know what I mean? I'm just going to start having a heart attack or whatever and be like,
Like, it's fine.
That's all right.
I can't sleep at all. I mean, it's a fight for me every night.
Yeah.
She sleeps light.
Golly.
I sleep very light, but
Unless she's been drinking. Then she
Little
sleeps.
wine,
Then
you
she
like-
sleeps like she's in a casket.
sound like a 40-year-old man.
I tell her all the time, that's the only time you snore is when, that's how I know you really got drunk.
I can say,
She'll
I'm
go to
not
sleep.
drunk. I'm not drunk. 5 minutes later, oh, she was drunk.
I'm like, yep.
I love it. Yep. Snoring, telling on yourself.
That's totally fine.
Like
It is what it is.
The sleep schedule. That's people have asked us about that too. You know, like we've got crowd questions about sleep, and we can never give a definitive answer because I think it's so different for everybody. You know what I mean? Like
I agree.
I got to get my 7 hours. Like I'll plan my life around getting 7 hours of sleep to the best of my ability, just because I like believe that it's good and it's healthy. So I try to do it on purpose. But there's some days you just can't. But like y'all talking about, you know, if I get 4 or 5 hours, I do hear a lot of successful people now. That's why I said it might come back and bite me in the butt, because I hear a lot of successful people saying successful people don't sleep for 10 hours a day or 8 hours a day. That's a third of your life. And they're right. You know what I mean?
But you might have a weekend come up to where we have nothing to do and we spend that entire weekend just being lazy around the house. It does not happen often. But at this time of year, you know, we might get that opportunity a little more. But you literally rest all weekend. So it kind of gives your body that boost. And then you can go for another couple weeks of living on only naps for 40 minutes or sleeping for 4 hours at a time.
See, and that's what throws me off. If I go a whole weekend, like we just got back from, you know, my wife is real big time into the Washington Parish Fair, so we go camp over there every year.
I wanted to play that so bad.
Oh man, it was
We had
fun.
some people trying to pull for us to get us on the Brantley Gilbert part of things, but that didn't work out.
Yeah, maybe next year. There's always a chance, bro. So we go to the fair every year, and like we spent the whole last week at the fair, and I feel like I'm gonna spend Monday, Tuesday, and probably Wednesday of this week just like cranking the gears to get it back going. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be out for a couple of days trying to get back in the groove. I like to try to stay in a steady. I guess I'm real like schedule oriented. You know what I mean? I want to stay in a very consistent routine and do it over and over and over again. And I feel like if I do that, I can go for months. Now, if I start grinding really hard for 3 or 4 days, that's all you're gonna get is like 3 or 4 days, and I'm out. I got to tap out.
Life as a musician would kill you. Like, I'm not a musician. I'm just the support behind it. But
she's
we
there,
live the
so
same life.
Yeah, you're living
Yeah.
that life.
Yeah, so I mean, God, you wake up every day and you never know what that day is gonna throw at you,
Yeah.
and then you add a bar to the mix. It's even more chaos.
Dude, that's what's so interesting about like hustle. Like everybody's hustle is different. You know what I mean? We talk about that in the show often. Yeah. That's what's so interesting about it is like some of us are geared for that, right? Some of us are geared for consistency.
Your
be like the
9 to
little
5 schedule.
Energizer bunny, just go, and kind of maintain that steady schedule. Some of us are built for sprints. You know what I mean? Like sprint it out, chill. Sprint it out, chill.
That's kind of how it is in the music industry. It's like when you have to do something, do it because
You might have a window this big. Well, they can't see, but a window this big to get everything done. And after that, you've lost your chance, your opportunity. So you have no choice but to do it right then and there when it's being asked of you.
And you know, y'all brought up a real good point talking about schedules and weekends, and sometimes it's not often, but you can kind of chill out on the weekend. With what you do, primarily that's a weekend gig, right? I mean, these are Fridays and Saturdays probably overwhelmingly that you are actually playing. So when everybody else has time off, you're working.
That's right.
Yeah. That's one thing we miss out on so much with our friends and family. It might be birthday parties for a nephew, or like I missed out on my best friend's housewarming party because we were just non-stop going. And when I crashed and I burned. Like I could not physically get out of bed. So you really do miss out on a lot of things, but it's also on the other side, you get so many experiences that people can only dream of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's hard. It's really hard, but it's also so worth it. And I really feel like this is just the beginning for him.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, man, a lot that people don't understand about this music industry, especially being in my position, is in order to have the level of success that I want, I have to have good musicians around me. And in order to have good musicians, you have to pay them for what they're good at. So there might be some shows that we do that I don't even get paid on. Yeah. So that's part of the hustle too. It's not always about I'm going to do this show and I'm making, you know, however much money per show. I make sure my guys get paid so they want to come back to the next show, you know, and they want to stay around. They want to keep working for me.
Very good.
There's been so many times, like here recently, not so much, but there's been a lot of times in the past where he does not get paid at all for it. Like we were kind of just going to do it as a hobby. But someone reminded me, it's just like starting any other business. You have to buy everything up front. You have to spend the money, and then it'll start to build you some profit later on. So that's the way that we look at it.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, that's tough, man. Look, I was totally, whenever Lucy reached out to us about coming on the show, and that's what I love. Like, I guess you saw the show through whatever channels and said, I got a hustler for you. Boom, talk to this dude. And, we did our little research or whatever and was like, yep, that's a good fit. So, it's just, it's a grind. And the music industry is no different than any other industry. And that's why we were so open to having another musician come on, because I loved hearing the first time the same concepts, totally different story, but same concepts of grind, hustle, hard work, mentality, work ethic, no quit. I mean, very little sleep. I love doing the show because the premise is so universal across every single industry. I mean, that's it.
So y'all got anything coming up? Any big dates?
He has a single he can tell you about that's soon to be released. We're hoping, what'd you say, like mid-November?
About a month out. I'm pretty sure we record at Studio 433 in Slidell.
Shout out.
That's my guitar play, one of my guitar player studios, and I'm pretty sure right now he's got it. A guy in Nashville is doing some guitar work on it. And then when he gets it back, he can mix it, and he'll send it to somebody to master it in Nashville. And this past weekend, we went to Zona ATV Park.
There you go.
To shoot some of our video, because we're doing an official video for this song.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're going back this Sunday because we had a show that got canceled for this Sunday. So we're going back to get some more filming done. Once all that's done, we've got a couple other things we're going to shoot, and then we're hoping, like she said, in about a month we're going to be able to put the video and the song out all together.
We may do the song first. I believe the song is going to be first, and the video may be like a week or two to follow. Gotcha. But the song is just about him growing up with his friends, cutting up, four-wheeler riding, drinking, hanging out.
Very good. Yeah. Can you say the name or no? Or you don't release it yet?
Just Being Us.
Oh, okay.
We've got some promo stuff out that her and Alfie
I'll send you the website or his social media website, so that way it has a promo video for that. And then if they want to follow him or just check anything out, it'll have iTunes, Facebook, Instagram, all of that stuff in one spot.
Gotcha.
Perfect. So tell us real quick, your social media handles.
Everything should be at Thomas Cain Music.
Okay, so that's Facebook, Instagram. You do Twitter?
No, I do not do Twitter. I cannot figure Twitter out. I think it's the whole being 30 years
trust me.
old.
Oh my God.
TikTok. You got TikTok?
Yeah, we have TikTok, YouTube. But like I said, I'll give you the Popple link, so that way when you click Popple, it pulls everything up.
Yeah.
Popple.
All
that.
That'll
Talking
be
about social media stuff.
Now.
That's who you talk to.
Right.
But everything else should, if he has it, just search at Thomas Cain Music and look for the big beard, the big majestic beard.
Perfect. Lion's mane.
One more question before we get out of here. Okay. So I always am curious from guys that and gals who have bands, who they listen to. So who's your go-to when you?
My favorite artist, hands down, is Brantley Gilbert.
Yeah.
100%.
You too?
Okay, so I have 3 top favorites.
By the way, Bottoms Up, great song, love it.
Yeah. Brantley Gilbert, he actually, if you're out here listening, Brantley, we need you to answer that question for us. Our wedding song is a Brantley Gilbert song, and that's why Tyler Farr even called him that night to try and get the lyrics straightened out for us, because I say it's one thing, he says it's another, and then everywhere on the internet is like back and forth with it.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's Brantley Gilbert, Cody Johnson, and Justin Moore. Those are my absolute favorites for right now.
I
listen to pretty much anything that's good. If to my ear, if I think it's good and I like it, I listen to it. R&B, hip hop.
Like
country,
I said, we go
rock.
from Reba to Kevin Gates. So I mean, anything and everything in between.
There you go.
Love it, Jimmy. You got anything you want to throw in and close us out, or what?
I had fun filling in for Chase today.
I know.
Just like to say,
I never skipped a beat, bro. You've watched enough of them.
That's right. That I have. Yes.
No, cool.
I appreciate it. Nice meeting both of you.
Yeah, for
Y'all
sure.
too.
Y'all got anything you want to close out with? Little final thoughts. Go Tigers.
Oh, definitely go Tigers. How about that?
Yes.
Huh? That was a beautiful game.
Yeah,
Yes, it was.
I do want to shout out to all my band guys and everybody that rolls with us. Like I said, Studio 433, we do all our recording. Our sponsors, Tickfall River Village Campground and Cats Warsaw. My buddy Peyton Murphy. I don't know if y'all know Peyton Murphy. He's a good friend of mine.
I don't know him, but he's an attorney, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yes, we went on a.
I know his name.
We went on a fishing trip with him down in Grand Isle a couple months ago. First time I've ever been offshore fishing. I had a blast. Shout out to Scott Ennis.
Yeah.
And
we know Scott very well.
my manager, Colby Rosenthal. Shout out to him for all the hustle he puts
I
in.
know Colby. Yep.
I hope I'm not forgetting anybody.
Just anyone and everyone that's in our
Yeah.
everyday life. It's hard to think when you're on the spot right here.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah,
We
there's so many
appreciate
people
the
that
support.
there's so when you meet people like we shout out to Lee, for helping us get on the Whiskey Myers thing earlier this year. She's not really fully involved with the band. She's just a friend that she made
Through wine.
through wine.
You know?
It's a friend that she made, had no idea who she was, and they just got to talking, and she liked the band. She believes in us and what we can do and what we're capable of, and she helped us get out in Beaumont on that show. So, there's people that I'm sure that I'm forgetting, and I'm sorry if I'm forgetting anybody. But it feels good to have people believe in you when you're doing something like this.
Definitely.
100%.
Definitely, no doubt. Well, we definitely appreciate y'all taking the time out your busy schedule to come out and spend a little time with us. We love hearing the stories about the grind and the hustle, and we hope that all of our viewers can take something away from this episode. All our listeners. That's it, guys. I don't want to keep you any longer than we need to. I definitely appreciate y'all coming out.
We appreciate y'all having us on here.
Oh man, it's been fun. I love doing this.
This is my first time doing a podcast, so
You're
Shout
a
out
pro
to
now.
Jim. Yeah. Now you can do all of them.
There you go.
All right, guys. That's it. That's another episode of Hustle Makes It Happen, the podcast. Remember, until next time, keep your head down, keep your eye on the ball. Hustle makes it happen, but most importantly,
Have fun.
Later.